Dear Will and Amala, you guys submitted your advice questions onto my Instagram at the Amala Epinobi. You can also follow Taylor at Taylor Trandle and Will at the Will Wit if you want to keep up with his European excursions. So you guys submitted your advice questions on friends, family, dating, politics, relationships, anything you want. And I'm going to answer them here for you guys today. Number 1, Dear Will and Amala, how to deal with a girlfriend with mental health issues. This is from Elliot Ave. Okay. Any initial thoughts, Taylor?
I don't know. You get to see these before I do, so
yeah.
You always like throw it right to me. And
I know. I always toss it over. I always need a second. Even though I put these together, I need a second to process too. Okay, this is a multifaceted question. I don't know what these specific mental health issues are. This definitely does require a bit more detail, but I think at baseline, this can often be difficult to deal with when you are in a relationship with somebody because relationships rely a lot on chemistry. And when you are in a relationship with somebody who has mental health issues, sometimes that chemistry can be sort of taken off kilter or off its equilibrium through no fault of their own because this is a mental health problem. And being the partner, especially being a male partner, who typically men are far less in tune with their emotions than women are, it can be difficult to understand why somebody might be feeling the way that they're feeling. And you immediately want to brush it off as, oh, this is nothing. And I don't know why she feels this way or she's crazy, something like that. You have to take an active effort, I think, if you want to be with this girl who's experiencing mental health issues, to understand what she's going through, what she's feeling, and how that changes on a day-to-day basis. I would even say if this girl is going to therapy sessions or things for her mental health issues and you truly want to understand what she's going through and sort of cement that into your relationship, join her and her therapist maybe and see what the therapist has to say. Get educated on what she's dealing with because that will be really important.
Yeah, that's good. Just without going into too much detail, my wife has a history of mental health issues as someone who's married to someone with who's dealt with depression and such. I can say, just be, especially as a guy, your instinct is to be rational, think of solutions, and you're like, well, here's oh, you're feeling that way. Here's the answer to your problem.
Yeah.
Or, oh, you're not feeling anything? Well, that's good. It's okay. It's not really about that. And it's more, and what you can do is often there's nothing you can do apart from just like being there, being supportive, listening, not trying to solve everything, and just making it known that like I'm here and I love you and I'm with you and I support you and like we'll get through this. And but even and like try not to say too many pleasantries or like shallow little things that people say and I don't know, just really listen and try like Amala was saying, just empathize and get in there down into the dirt with them as best as you can, but also have a healthy understanding for the fact that you can't know how they feel. You can't understand and fully identify with where they're at, and don't pretend like you do, but really but at the same time be as present and available and just like supportive as you can.
Yeah, you made a super big point there. For all relationships, I don't care if this is friendship or an associate or a relationship or a family member. If anybody comes to you and is just like crying about their problems or wants to rant to you, a first question that will save you from nearly every single argument in your relationship is, do you want answers or do you want a hug? If you do that every single time your girlfriend or your man comes to complain to you or give you a rant about the day that they had, problem solved. Let them answer that question first, because I think every single argument that couples get into just spans from an issue like that. Okay, hopefully you answered your question, Elliot. Next one. Dear Will and Amala, advice for being on camera from Hubble Bubble 506. I think both you and I were both uncomfortable being on camera when this first started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are just such a natural and so talented at all this that I don't even know if you can give it good advice, because it's just like, just be good. Just be great at it. It's fine.
No, that's not it. I don't know.
No, I'm sure you have good advice.
I don't know. When I first started at PragerU, I thought I wasn't going to get this job because I was just so uncomfortable being on camera and I think so clearly nervous. And if you go back and watch my old videos, if you go back and watch the first fireside that I ever did with Dennis, you will see those nerves and you'll see how I'm far more shy in that video than I am now. But it's something where you just have to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And eventually you'll just get more comfortable with yourself and who you are. And it's also about identifying what your fear is of being on camera. Like a fear that I used to have was very much attached to insecurity. And if your fear is attached to insecurity of, oh, I'm nervous to be on camera because I don't know how I'm going to be perceived by people and I don't know how I'm going to look and I don't know what I'm going to say. You have to work on that insecurity first and become cemented and secure in who you are. And then when the camera comes out, you're no different than who you are when you're off camera. It's when you try to be something different or to portray yourself as this sort of smooth, suave person on camera that it tends to go downhill.
Yeah. It's counterintuitive to say this as being in front of a camera, but don't perform.
Yes.
In essence, like be yourself, because the more you're putting up, you're performing and trying to play up to some level of camera friendliness, the less authentic you are, and the more nervous you'll get, because it's much harder to like try to think your way into being the right person and then spontaneously create this character, as it is to just take it, chill and be yourself and talk. I mean, you guys have seen me mess up on camera a lot, so I'm by no means a pro. Well, you don't, but it's fine. But and I think too, just like a little humor, a little thing to like just take the air out of the whole, like the tension out of the whole appearance, and just be like, say something self-deprecating, say something that just puts you in the moment, and that can like really, just get rid of all of the pretense, I should say. Yeah.
It's also important who you're around when you're doing it too. It's funny. Sometimes I'll do interviews and, you'll get this person who's like super dry and super just type A, very somewhat callous. And you go, oh, it's making me nervous that this person is like this. And then I did an interview today with the Conversationalist, which you can look up and follow them on my Instagram. Great team of people. You walk in, it's just such a friendly environment. I always try to give that to people when they come on this show too. And when they meet me and meet us, that it takes away the ease. When you feel like you're around friends, that's a good thing. So pick a good team of people to be around. Next one. Dear Will and Amala, any advice on how to prioritize my goals in a world of distraction? This one's tough. 'Cause you almost want to answer like, just do it. You have goals. Prioritize your goals.
If Will were here, that's what he would say.
Will would be like, just do it. Prioritizing your goals in a world of distraction. I mean, I am personally one of those people where if I go to bed at the end of the day and I feel like I've accomplished nothing or I've done nothing outside of like a lazy Saturday or something like that, I kind of feel bad. And I get that sort of negative reinforcement from myself of, you spent a whole 24 hours on this earth today and you didn't do anything. And I think it's just something to be cognizant of and remind yourself of. And it's not always going to be perfect. Some days you're going to wake up and you go, I'm absolutely fine with doing nothing. And I have those days quite often. But you have to have, I think, some form of negative reinforcement built in and attached to your goals, and then positive reinforcement when you do meet those goals. So like a negative reinforcement. If I don't get what I need to get accomplished at work, I'm not going to go home and watch TV. I'm going to go home and like read a book, or I'm going to go home and, go to bed early. And a positive reinforcement would be, if I get this done, I'm going to order food to my apartment tonight. Stuff like that. Just little small things that attach positivity to prioritizing your goals and going for your goals can truly make a difference, because you'll find your lifestyle is better when your goals are reached.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of practical stuff we could add here too about like, talking about distractions. Okay, put your phone away, or, do like a Sabbath style of day where that's the day where you get a lot of things that you want to get done. Read that book or whatever it may be. But I think the deeper question is like, if you, because similar to Amala, like if in general, if my life, if I'm not in a place where I feel connected to what I find meaningful, and to where I don't feel like I have anything to show for what the things I'm doing in my life day to day, I get this existential angst that I can't shake. And you need that. You need something to be bothering you and making you motivated to get out of bed and to do something with your life. And so what is that for you? And then really hone in on that and process that, and make sure that the things that you're structuring your whole life around what is most valuable. And ask yourself that question. What is the most important thing in the world that I could be doing, that I should be working on? What does the world need, and how can I help usher that in? And you become accountable to that. Like I think Jordan Peterson talks about when once you set a goal, you become accountable. So a lot of times we are afraid to set goals because we don't want to be accountable to those goals. And so, but that's what you have to do. Have the courage to ask yourself what you should be doing. Yep.
That's exactly right. I think that's perfect. There you go, Jenna. That's what you need to do. Jenna Luena. I hope we answered your question correctly. Here we go. Next one. Dear Will and Amala. Hi, Amala. Huge fan of yours and Will's. I work for a super liberal university in Colorado. Shocker. Gearing up for a woke Black History Month. Advice for how to stand for conservative values in the face of this. And what are your thoughts on the month and the stance society tends to take on it? From @TheMillennialConservative. Big one. Okay. I'll actually have a video coming out about this tomorrow, but let's talk Black History Month for a second. And first question, advice for how to stand for conservative values in the face of this. Just don't change. Keep doing what you're doing. There's nothing that changes in the month of February for me, and nothing that changes in the March, May, June, July, or any other month. So just continue doing what you're doing. I believe you run an Instagram account for your politics and your political beliefs, so continue to do that and stand for what you believe. There should be nothing that changes in the month of February simply because it's labeled Black History Month. As far as my thoughts on the month itself, why? That's the summation of my thoughts. Why? Why does this exist? And I can understand a time where a Black History Month may have been necessary. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Black History Month sort of got its upbringing in the 1970s. So it was brought up by a couple Black educators at Kent State University who proposed it, and they started celebrating it there. And then actually President Gerald Ford, 6 years later, decided to recognize Black History Month. And from then it became sort of a staple on the American calendar. So maybe in the 1970s it was needed. We're coming right out of the civil rights movement. Maybe we weren't talking as much about Black history and we weren't educating enough about it. But I think that time has since passed and we are educating on Black History Month. In fact, in most states I won't say in most states, but there are states where it is legislated that we learn about Black history and Blackness is tied to America, which I think is also sort of ridiculous in some ways. But what I think a phrase like Black History Month or a practice of Black History Month does is it actually sort of handcuffs Black people. Why are we consolidating Black history to 1 month in February? Why not just teach history throughout the year? And if Black people are a part of that history, we talk about that history. The same thing for Hispanic Heritage Month. I feel the same way. There should be no history months for specific races. If anything, that just misconstrues what history is about altogether. It's about time periods and specific events. It's not tied to race. And to do so is really to just limit Black people because you are limiting your history to a month.
Yeah, I'm not going to have much of a better breakdown on Black History Month than Amala, but I would just say, refuse to say anything that you don't believe to be true. And no matter what you're confronted with at work with all this woke stuff, you don't you don't have to make this big, dramatic stand about it, but don't say anything that you don't agree with. Don't be complicit in these narratives that you don't believe in, and be prepared with facts like Amala just laid out to give a defense of your position and a rebuttal if we needed, or just send them the video that Amala is going to post tomorrow.
There you go. That's exactly right. Yeah, don't worry about it. This is not a big deal. It's going to come and go. There's very little controversy around Black History Month that I'm aware of, other than why does it exist? And I think that's a stance that a lot of people share. Next and last question. Dear Will and Amala. Oh, this one's Juicy. My best friend had a whole conversation about why she's still friends with my ex after he cheated on me. She said that he was mature in the relationship and that's why she's still close with him. They're closer than they've ever been, and she pretty much said that me saying mean things about him is just as bad as him cheating and saying horrible things to me in the relationship. I don't know what to do anymore. My little rainbow. Ooh, girl. Are you sure you want to start the question off with my best friend? Because that's a little questionable to me. I think that's my first question is this girl your best friend if she's extremely close with an ex who cheated on you? Questionable. Questionable. I'm not going to speculate too much. But Taylor, doesn't that raise a red flag for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This whole thing just feels like kind of high schooly drama. Look,
it is.
Life gets better after the stuff like this. I promise.
It does. Yeah, this too shall pass.
There are bigger fish to fry. Let me just say.
Yes, there are.
Than this whole type of thing. I understand it feels like a big deal right now, but
this is her big fish. Okay. This is her big fish, Taylor.
I'm not trying to belittle it. I'm just saying.
Sure.
What's my advice? I don't know. You go first.
Okay. First of all, reevaluate the best friend label. Because it sounds like this person is causing you quite a bit of pain in this moment right now. Do best friends try to cause other people pain? Probably not. And it seems to be a concern that you have brought up in your relationship, and she has justified by saying, quote, he is mature in the relationship. I don't know how closely correlated maturity and cheating is, but I would venture to say it is not extremely correlated. So
yeah, what does that even mean to be mature in the relationship? Like, does that mean in the context of the relationship, he was mature, like in the development of the relationship?
I guess that's what she's trying to say. She said that during your relationship, he was mature, which I don't understand. But he cheated.
That's not mature.
It's not very mature at all.
And, weak. And,
yes.
Yeah, that's not mature.
It sounds like to me. Also, Taylor, what's your opinion on men and women being friends? Do you think that this is a platonic relationship? If you had to gamble, if you were a gambling man,
men and women can be best friends, and then they get married. That's what happened with me.
Yeah, that is true. I would venture to say your homegirl might have some feelings for your ex man. So yeah,
generally when they have plenty of reason to not stand by and be involved with this person after a relationship, and when they know it's like something that's hurtful to you.
Yes.
Why are they sticking around?
Yeah.
He's just so mature.
Right. All of my best friends, like imagine if your best friend got cheated on by a man and then you went and befriended him and started hanging out with that man. Yeah. Yeah. That's my advice for you, my little rainbow. Reevaluate that. And you've already seemed like you've had the conversation about concerns. Maybe have that conversation one more time. If the friendship is extremely important to you, and then go about your business, because it doesn't sound like she's trying to help you feel any better about this situation. And yeah, that's my 2 cents.